YouTube and we can oh, we're okay. Fuck
No,
it. We'll do
same
it live.
thing though. No. Click here to reconnect.
All right. Well, I'll go post the YouTube thing over there just because.
Yeah, I just thought I'd hit the live button and catch you napping because I love it.
And you did. It worked out real good.
All right. So the next thing is I want to share this to our personal streams. Honestly, I think at this point we're probably more people are going to see it on.
Yeah, I'll just post it everywhere.
Yeah, cool. That's the plan. Yeah. So we're live on freaking Facebook. Can you believe it? Let's see, comments. I want to turn comments on. I did. So Local Live Network. And sorry, man.
No, dude,
this is like old times.
It's perfect tradition. Like, what are you guys doing? I don't know, stuff, things, junk.
Let's see. Okay, so we're going to share that back out to
post.
Wait a minute. What? Share via Twitter. Yeah, why not? Share via Twitter. Sure. We can do that. I was just trying to share it to my...
I like that. One-time greatness? Topic?
We don't know. Like somebody asked, who was it? One of our regulars asked me yesterday, "What's the topic?" And I'm like, "Topic? Do you remember what we used to do?
Right? Like
be weirdos? I'm just saying. So why isn't it just letting me share to my regular old? My. I'll tell you what we're gonna do.
I mean, we are on Facebook. There's a bunch of comments from Facebook, so that's working.
Yeah, I just wanted it on my personal page because I'm, some folks might not remember that we have the thing.
Right.
Sherry, Bernie, Fred Eater, Ginny,
right? It's
Ginny
all
Ripper,
our
Korioko, Bubble Viz.
Fucking Bubble Viz. We got to talk about rockets. Like, I feel like it's a year ago, and we just
catching up to do.
Wow. all the peeps from like literally like whenever the last time we did this was.
Yeah, Casey Marion. Yep. Oh, by the way, she's in on the Shipple thing. She got her questionnaire filled out. The fork thing, and we don't really have a plan today to talk about all the crypto and uplift stuff, but we will if that comes up.
Yeah, we can. There's a lot going on. I was thinking. I mean, I got 2.5 hours of sleep last night.
Awesome.
No, it's not good.
Not awesome.
Not great.
Yeah, you were up way later than I expected to see you. So
yeah, I tried to go to sleep. My knees are all fucked up. So I just woke up at 1:30 or 2, and my knees were like, "You should get up and ice me." So I did.
So I'm used to seeing gray in my beard, but you got like quite the little gray side chin thing going on over here. Yeah. So for those of you who have been wondering, you can look at Corey's background image and you can see what he's been up to since the last time we did this. He's been building a metaverse and an economy to support it. And I'm going to make one inside joke for those of you who are part of that world. It's we're going to release all of our villagers, emancipate all of our villagers, and Southern upliftians are like, but our economy.
I saw that comment. I was like, oh man. Yeah, that's where we live now. There's we're gonna set all the villagers free.
Yep.
And then start all the shops. Do you see what Axie did this morning?
No.
Okay. I'm glad it's just 13 of our closest friends because I'm gonna talk about what Chris Tuttle told me, and like literally I just started swearing really loudly, just in shock. So Axie Infinity is a play to earn game. We look to them. I mean, they're a $2 billion economy now. They've literally changed the economic structure of the Philippines because so many people started playing there and making money there that like people are like earning like buy a house money and like, Western level money in the Philippines. It's literally changing the economics of Southeast Asia, in around the Philippines and Indonesia and stuff. It's fucking incredible. It's like really, really incredible. But with the way that they balance this stuff out is really educational for us for what we're doing. for the uplift.
Oh yeah, I forgot to call them forced friends.
Forced friends. Man, that's before uplift days where we start calling them forced friends.
Yeah. That time
anyway, so
slavery in Minecraft.
Right. So they just started a staking, AXS is one of their tokens. They have two.
Okay.
And so they just like a staking rewards kind of thing or whatever. And in conjunction with that, because they're working to balance their tokenomics all the time, right? And it's kind of thing that we're getting in. It's super challenging and totally fun. They dropped $60 million worth of their token to people that were playing before August 2020 or something.
Oh, wow.
Right. So yeah, we're in the total huddle this morning, and one of Chris's two gratitudes this morning. So we do it in the basement and we throw it all up there in the tower behind me, actually. We're right near it.
Yep.
She says, yeah, I'm really grateful for the AXS drop from Axes. And she calls one of her partners. She's in a polyamorous relationship. She calls one of her partners Cybercoms. He might have a name. I don't fucking have any clue what it is. It's like Cybercoms is just a person in my brain, which is fun. Way cooler name than Corey. Fucking throw that out there.
I mean, if I could change my name to Cybercoms, right? I probably would.
Yeah. So she said, yeah, I'm really grateful for this drop. I said, well, you don't have to tell us, but like how much, how many AXEs? She didn't tell us how much token she got. She's like in this nonchalant voice. Between Cybercoms and I, we pull in about $100,000 worth. I just started swearing. Shit. I was like, why do you fucking come to work? Why do you talk to us at all? What the fuck?
Yes. He's one of those people that says, if I hit the lottery, nothing would change.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's dude. Yeah, Corey, thanks, man. And yes, I spell it wrong. It's my mom's fault. Anyway, so yeah, all that stuff, and like we've got, it's a way for a game company to play with ideas around UBI without actually having the capacity to just print dollars. It's sort of,
but that's what's that's what's happening. Like I'm watching the DeFi thing from like a complete newbie kind of place, and I'm seeing how like we the collective friends that we have in this world don't own and operate Alcor, but the people that are in this live stream with me right now are building a thing like Alcor that will be the levers of economic continuity will be controlled by people I know, meaning you guys get to yank the levers and make things happen.
So this is a bunch of stuff happened there too. So we've been trying to figure out, Legend is really uncomfortable with us launching Blue Deck because they're very scaredy pantsy about the regulation. And both Blue and I are like, just go look at the rest of crypto. Like Ripple's gonna get off, and they literally sold a token that is a security by any reasonable measure, literally, and they're like gonna get slapped on the wrist like that. And we're never gonna sell this token. We're just gonna send it out as rewards. Like I basically have hacked this thing down to where it's as bulletproof as Yoshi, like what some of the Yoshi drops stuff are doing, and even a lot of the stuff that we're already doing at Uplift. And had a good conversation with Legend, and basically said, listen, like, we finally just said we're going to do this with or without you, but this is our game plan to like bring it in house if you want to do that. And so they started humming and hawing again, and Blue was like, you got 48 hours, and I wanted to like race to Texas and like French kiss that fucking guy. And the way
I don't know
way
him well enough to French kiss him, but I'd hug him for sure.
Me neither. Yeah, like a really like an obnoxiously like awkwardly long hug. Yeah, it's a little bit better. But yeah, so will you just use Alcor LP? Like we don't have to do the swaps. Right. And that was never that's never what I wanted. What I want is the ability to incentivize LP. That's the one thing Alcor is missing across all the chains that it has access to. And the one thing that I think
so instead of having to count on the projects to incentivize, the DAC itself will be
not only will this entire Blue token be designed to deepen those pools by incentivizing people to stake into those pools, but we're going to open a bunch of like basically open the ability for Shipple to come in and make like a Shipple Yoshi pair and then add Shipple into a pool, and the staking and unstaking will cost Blue token, right? And so like we just create the engine so that everybody can just do that on their own. And then we're also going to do that for NFTs, because it really, like, the when staking thing, like the guys behind One Essus and even our planet to a lesser extent, like they're basically gating this stuff, saying like, you know, we've got the tools to do it. When staking tried to charge me $50,000 to add Uplift art and Uplift world, and I just started fucking laughing. Like it's a grift,
right?
Because I know, like, phase 2 of Blue Deck is we launch these tools so that anybody can do it in any way that they want, and like they'll be out of business 5 seconds.
I love how cafeteria style your creation process has become. Like, you're paying attention to what all these other projects are doing, like Nefty, like Axie, like, you know, all these other things, and you know, one from column A, one from column B. Oh, fuck it, all of column B. Let's just
yeah. Well, it's like what's working, right? And that's really, it's the same thing you'll recall that we did with Uplift. And you remember when we were talking with Fred from Proton that time?
Yes.
It's like, we're only going to use off-the-shelf tools ever, right? Off-the-shelf cryptocurrency tools and off-the-shelf NFT tools and blah, 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 blah. This is just that same thing. It's just solving a bigger issue that's, you know, like all the tokens on Wax need that, and then we'll take it multi-chain. And this is why I don't sleep.
Yeah, anyway, and also we're speaking like a deeply technical, weird language for people that have never dipped into this with us before. The good news is that we've drawn in Ginny and you know, and Donna and a few other people that I'm seeing in here, Casey. So if there are any of you that paid attention in 2019 when Corey invented Shipple, and you somehow earned some Shipple or airdropped some Shipple or won some Shipple in a contest, now is your time, because this is the last day to file a form, and I'm going to put a link up here in a minute on bullshipples.io. And basically what's going to happen is whatever amount of Shipple you had in the old EOS blockchain is going to be forked, meaning you'll receive a matching amount in the Wax blockchain. And that's important because it actually has value and tradability, and you can buy it and sell it, and
you know what?
And liquidity match it on the Wax blockchain like we never could on the EOS blockchain. So I think it's safe to say that the EOS on the Wax blockchain is going to have infinitely more value than the stuff on the EOS blockchain did.
Near term, yes. But did you notice that Alcor works on EOS?
Yes. And
the thing is, like,
curiosity about that.
It's the same, right? So like, we should be able to do the same things on EOS that we're doing on, like, from a technical point of view, on the thing, but
they're
no one cares.
More expensive. Oh, I thought there was like fees and things involved.
So there's like the resource model of that blockchain has actually gotten a little bit better if you want to do like 2 to 5 transactions a day kind of thing,
right?
But it used to, definitely like ground to a halt for us back in the day, which is why we moved over to doing other stuff.
Right.
But yeah, the thing that's really intriguing me the most is like the relationships that create the pairs, that create the opportunity to sort of incentivize those pairs. That's what really gets me, right? Like, it's like Shipple and A-Chain, for example, right? Like A-Chain, for those of you guys don't know, like achainproject.com, they're this adorable group of people from South America that are making a game where you basically taught me almost everything I know about DeFi. I learned like hatching stupid egg chain tokens, like to get chickens. It's dumb. It's hilarious, but it you know, it's good. Anyway, those relationships between projects is the thing that I like the most.
I'm looking for the link to the specific page. That's the Wax blockchain. That's the swap stuff. Yeah, Corey's asking a good question in the comments. Do you have concerns over China outlawing cryptocurrency transactions?
They've done it like 50 times.
Have they? So why do they keep relenting? What's
so? What I mean, they've done more this cycle, like in this bull cycle, than they did last cycle. And so they at the beginning of this bull market, they outlawed mining. And I actually didn't think that was going to stick, and I think it kind of did, even though there's still mining nodes that are coming out of Chinese IP addresses, but whatever, it's down a lot. And then they ban it. Now, what they're actually planning on doing is releasing their own. Right, so China has gotten to where it's gotten in the last 20 years based on a lot of things, but on controlling and manipulating currencies. Right, it's actually one of the things that Hillary Clinton was working on. They will artificially keep the Chinese yuan low so that their import-export business works really well for them, right? And so they've been sent, and because they're centralized, they can just do that, and they have no qualms about it, and they don't give a shit what anybody thinks on the world stage, and they just make it happen or whatever, right? So when you throw in cryptocurrencies that don't obey those rules that are set by a centralized authority by their nature, China's gonna fucking lose its shit. I mean, that's and what the end result though will be of that is they're going to try and digitize the yuan and have the yuan be the pass through, so that all cryptos have to basically come through that to get into their ecosystem. Right.
That's not dumb from their point of view.
It might be though, because all the innovation is going to happen elsewhere. It is
right.
I guess, like, from their perspective, still, if they're still considering themselves as not like a first world country, which I suppose is fair, right? Because they're still developing. If you want to sort of play the weaker point, and they probably understand their global economics more than I do, so that's a possibility. Well, but yeah, as far as like worrying about it in general, crypto, not in the slightest. It's
just like similar to other markets. Anytime there's big news, it does move currency values around, but not permanently. Yeah, it's not like this is going to kill Bitcoin or
right. This is why I don't trade anymore. I only look at I every once in a while I'll look at the daily chart, but really the only chart you need to look at is the weekly chart or the monthly chart, and that chart only goes in one direction over 4 to 8 year periods.
So I just put a link up in the comments, bullshipples.io/OG Shill airdrop. There's an application there that you can fill out. If you held any Shipple in a wallet on the EOS blockchain, you can go in and fill in the information, and you're going to receive that matching amount in the Wax blockchain. And we're super excited about this because, if you remember I really didn't expect this to become a crypto show, but here we are killing it.
And whatever you guys want to talk about, just feel free to
put something in the comments. And
we're like neck brain deep in this crap right now, so it's what we're going to talk about. But I'm more than happy to talk about whatever.
Corey much more than me, because I'll send him a political link once in a while and he just ignores it. So I think that's a studied reaction. That's a position. I
can't process it anymore. Actually, this week I actually listened to a couple episodes of Rachel. I haven't even been doing that. Like, I've literally been like plugged all the way out, because I'm at the point now where if I can't make a measurable difference in an hour, I can't spend brain power on it because I don't have any left.
Right. What I started to say was, if you remember back in the day, and I get a lot of credit for this, and I don't know, it's one of those things that just never seemed like a big deal, but I guess it kind of is. That Corey said, "Oh, there's a big giant pile of Shipple," and I was like, "Oh, okay, what, can I buy coffee with this? What, I don't, And he said, "No, but here it is." And I was like, "Okay." So, and what was happening in the Shipple Basecamp group on Facebook, aside from some hilariously awesome memes by our friends Sue and Marty and a bunch of other folks, was people were, "How can I get Shipple? How can I get Shipple? How can I get Shipple?" And it wasn't listed anywhere where you could buy it, but basically I had a big pile of it. So I said, "All right, you numbskulls, I'm tired of hearing you ask for it. So go out in your neighborhood and buy, just buy some t-shirts for a homeless shelter, or donate $20 to your local homeless shelter or soup kitchen, and come back here and post a picture of the receipt, and I'll send you some Shipple." And I did that, and we raised like $700 for charities in about 24 hours. And that was, I went, oh, so apparently that was a really big innovative deal that I didn't understand, but I invented the first use case for Shipple. And what's happening now on the Wax blockchain is our friend Marty Bullshipples and myself and the rest of the CK7. That's Sue Gentry and Ginny Rippert and Laugh Track, my roommate, and Corey's cousin Jen and her husband, and who am I missing? Katie, Sue's daughter Katie. We've created a charitable fund where basically our whole business model is to give away a big chunk of anything we make in this uplift world and cryptocurrency environment to local charities. And the first charity that we benefited was our friends at Hands of the Goddess right here in Newport Richey, Florida. And we want to continue to do that in a way that's sustainable. And so what this means is we're going to be identifying local charities in the places we live. 5 of the 7 of us live in Pasco County, but 2 of us live in Saskatchewan in Canada. Marty lives in Oregon. And so what's happening is we're going to end up opening the door for you to submit the name of a charity that's local to you, along with what they do. And there'll be an interview where they can come and be online and talk about the work that they do in their community. And then people are going to get to vote on which of these charities receive how much benefit from the Schipul Charitable Fund. So our reason for talking about cryptocurrency today is not necessarily you can make $1 million at it, although there are people that are killing it in that regard. It's to remind you that this whole thing that Corey started as a joke about another cryptocurrency, which, by the way, even though they were awesomely make funnable 3 years ago, they're about to win a court case that's going to open the door for all sorts of other DeFi, decentralized finance shenanigans, and I think that's when things are really going to take off. So just that's why we're talking about this morning, is to remind you guys, our regular viewers and listeners, are kind of the reason that this has happened. And it's, I used to wonder what it was like to be in a bar in Los Angeles and see like the Mamas and Papas when they were brand new and nobody knew kind of who they were, as or Guns N' Roses playing a bar gig, watching the birth of something pretty amazing. And so all of you now are going to be able to say, when you see Corey on the cover of like Forbes or whatever, you're going to be able to say, yeah, I remember when he was just an asshole talking about local politics back in the day on a dock behind his house.
Still miss that dock.
I know, me too. Yeah, that was fun times.
It's good cake.
I mean, I got a good backyard for bird watching, but there's no water, so that's not.
And I haven't seen a monkey in 5 years.
That comes up once in a while on my feed, and I'm like,
yeah.
And do you remember that like 3 days later, somebody saw a monkey on Grand Boulevard? Like it was,
it was like slowly
south, like he was moving his way down towards St. Pete. Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah. Existential crisis on the dock with Corey. I mean, I used to wake up in the morning and see Corey sitting on the dock with his hoodie pulled, up to his chin.
Yeah, it's cold.
Sipping coffee and talking to himself. And I would I got to drive over there and hang out with him. And that's kind of how that all started.
That was
yeah. Good. So I get to be a boomer about crypto. That's right, Jenny. We're going to be old folks and saying, hey, you used to have to buy them on a set exchange. And then it'll be like, okay, Grandma, it's time to get you back.
The thing too, with all of because I've been trying to figure out, okay, you can't really give Schipul out to charities, right? Because you need buyers, and so I'm constantly thinking about that economic loop and closing that.
Right.
So if we're just giving it away, it doesn't actually mean anything, and there's nowhere to send it. But that's actually not true anymore, right? Because if you do all these games, which is what Bullshipples and the rest of the OG team, so I gave Schipul to everybody, right? It's go do it. I don't have time or brain power, and it was the smartest thing I've done in a while because Bullshipples is fucking killing it. He's doing way more than I ever could have, and I just get to oh hey, I'm gonna hook you up on Binance Smart Chain, right? Which just happened out of the blue, which is crazy. But now doing all these games where you incentivize the adding of liquidity, ultimately what we're gonna do with Blue DAC, right? There's gonna be multiple pairs where you actually could buy and sell Schipul, so those pools get deep enough, and then you literally could give an award of Schipul to Hands of the Goddess or whatever. And if they need to get that out as cash, there would be a direct path to do it that wouldn't demolish the price, right? So they could sell it to Wax to KuCoin, KuCoin to EOS to Coinbase to dollars, right?
Right.
It's annoying, but it's a real path that exists, right?
Yes. And furthermore, for those who aren't playing in this world with NFTs, think of them like digital trading cards. It's really the simplest. It's not a direct analogy, but it's pretty close. Where you collect a full set of level 1 Garbage Pail Kids cards, and once you have the full set, you can burn that set and get something that's Garbage Pail Kid set that's worth more. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens is you buy packs that are random, that don't have all the pieces in these NFTs. And that's what Marty is making. He's making Shipple meme collections and other collections that you can buy packs. And if you don't have all the pieces, then you have to go buy those couple of individual pieces on the market. And so anytime you buy a piece for your collection, or anytime someone buys your more valuable NFT that you created, 10% of that sale goes into the Shipple Fund for charity. So what we're doing, the hashtag is, hashtag gamify generosity. And that's what's happening. You can donate directly, Shipple, that the charities can then use. But also, anytime you're participating in the gamification, you're actually creating revenue for charities. And that's fucking brilliant. That's all Marty. That's not
just
me.
Good. That's good cake.
Yeah.
He did a lot of brainstorming on that. We went back and forth on it a bunch, right? Just working backwards from, okay, Shipple's going to be about, gamifying generosity. Okay, go. How do you make it work so that you've got people on both sides of the equation? You need people that are getting Shipple to spend it on stuff. What are they spending it on? NFTs, blah, blah, blah. You know that I'm working Nifty to get them to use Shipple so that people can buy NFTs with Shipple. And they're going to do it.
Ready for that.
Yeah, right? Yeah, so like, never mind having to build our own marketplace, never mind having to do all that shit. You can literally just go to Nifty at a certain point, hopefully within the next couple weeks, and set up the Shipple meme NFT sales, but only take Shipple.
Okay, see, so that, like, thinking personally, that's going to be a huge help to me, because I don't have the wax to buy things to complete bigger miners for Upliftium, which is gaining in value. So that'll allow me to spend Shipple to buy things I need to earn the Upliftium currency, which means, yeah,
and like driving the lithium Shipple LP, which is liquidity token, right? Like pairs where we trade things back and forth or whatever, right? Like, incentivizing people to get into that pool will make that easier and easier all the time.
There's
like
one of those that
if you told us
like 21% of at this point.
Yeah, I think it was the lithium Shipple thing. It was like, it's basically you and me and a few other people in that pool.
Are you NFT LOOOLL?
Yeah. NFT one. Yeah. That's me.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was you.
And I bought, when they sold a bunch of Shipple in those NFT packs. I bought like a bunch, which was really a fun experience. But I already had a bunch of Aether, and that's the competition they just did, was the Shipple Aether pair. So I wailed into that like a fucking boss.
Well, what's funny is
I won a Shipple competition, and I'm not sad because I bought all of that. Like, that's
Laugh Track and I consider ourselves minnows in any of this, but we ended up 13 and 14 on that leaderboard.
Yeah,
so
buddy.
We're obviously not doing too bad. And she had a lot more. She just didn't get it all in place in time. So I think she probably could have made the top 5 if she'd have put all of her Aether, because she's sitting on 8 or 9 million Aether at this point.
Yeah, that's the way. That's good stuff.
So
anyway, what else is going on? Yeah, the Kremlin's still being stupid. Everyone's shocked.
Yeah, they're being very big mad today because YouTube is taking down all vaccine disinformation, and that's 90% of their content right now. So destroying America from within.
I mean, we're such a fucking amazingly easy target.
I that's been the most shocking thing to me, is how many people were vulnerable to anti-vaccine rhetoric. I knew what's weird is a year and a half ago, my anti-vax friends were split between weirdo conservative libertarians and weirdo hippie shamans, right? But now it seems highly politicized, the anti-vax thing.
I mean, it's a good way to kill off your voter base. It's a good job there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember when you didn't even want to laugh about that a year and a half ago.
I'm so tired of it, because I mean, the numbers are proving it now, right? Like, Republicans are getting vaccinated at 50%. They're putting everyone else at risk. So, like, seriously, fuck them. But I mean, Republican states are gonna, I mean, the edge cases, right? The ones where they're winning by 10%, not gonna make a difference. But like, we could see elections where this actually tips
makes a difference. Yeah,
right?
In fact,
and it won't be enough, but like, because honestly, they just need to kill the fucking filibuster so we can stop fucking arguing. It's like the debt ceiling thing now. Like, who cares? Like, fuck, we've seen this movie so many times. Fuck them.
I saw a graph the other day that showed counties that went for Trump by over 10%. Have 6 times the COVID fatality as other counties.
I mean, you can't even make
or
that
as the baseline.
Up.
Yeah, and guess what? Counties that went more than 10% for Biden have a lower than average fatality rate. Guess why? Because we're not hung up on this idea that vaccines are a liberal conspiracy.
I'm not saying that Democrats are smarter.
Oh my goodness. Fred, I assume we're all vaccinated. I can't imagine why we wouldn't be. I mean, I hope so. I mean, I think there might be a few people on my friends list that aren't vaccinated because they can't get vaccinated because they have some medical condition that makes that difficult. But that's why I got vaccinated. Was to fucking save those people's lives.
And like, even if you're wondering about it, you don't have to do it for yourself.
Yeah, I've been in some arguments with people that have said, "Well, if you're vaccinated, why do you care if I do?" Because it's not just about you and me, Sparky. It's about my roommate who has compromised immune system.
I don't understand virology or how sickness works.
You know, right? You know, like so if I'm not actively making you sick, why do you care? That's what this person said to me, and I was like,
you know,
because it's not about me, asshole.
The perfect
I'm vaccinated.
Analogy. I want to, like, we're on an airplane. I'm sitting next to your 5-year-old. I start lighting up cigarettes and chain smoking. Is that okay? It's not. Fucking get vaccinated. Like, it's not even.
Let's be frank. COVID's killed more people in the last year and a half than secondhand smoke has by a lot. So
probably for like a decade, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Casey said Dems aren't necessarily smarter; they're just much less gullible. For me, that's
not
the
same
different
thing.
That's right? Exactly. That's like right.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Also, Corielco reminds us, also, higher vaccine cities are having much better economic recoveries. Guess why? Because people can actually go out and spend their money and be around other people.
Right.
I'm terrified. Like, I've been invited out to a bunch of stuff. I want to go see Dave and Julie play in the worst possible way. I'm going to break my own rules on Friday night and go out for pancakes with Sam and Tiff and a few other people. Guess what? Sitting on a patio, an outdoor patio at a diner in Tampa that's never busy after 8:00 at night. So we're still, we're all anxious and we all want to go out and do shit, but for fuck's sake. And now we got a governor who's saying, who's still fighting vaccine mandates in school.
Like, how do you even I don't want to talk about that.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start yelling. It's so absurd. But it's like, this is why, I don't know. I just can't handle talking about politics anymore as a job, because it's like smashing your face against a brick wall over and over and over again and expecting something to change.
Okay, but what I forget is how many people that we're talking to right now took comfort in the fact that they could come here and feel
that's true. Like they just weren't crazy.
And it was because we did this. And so, it was very much, it's a two-way street, right? And getting feedback back from folks that were helped through that period by the fact that you and I were coming on a couple times a week and talking about this shit. Honestly, I really hoped that after the election we could all go back to sleep, but apparently that's not the case. January 6th showed us that's not the case. And night before last, there was a firebombing at a Democratic headquarters in Texas.
Yeah, right.
No, we're not. Getting rid of Trump was not the whole
because we didn't story. Right. Like he's gonna apparently run again. Like, not for nothing. He's old. I hope he fucking dies.
Yeah.
I mean,
can't imagine that they're
genuinely good for the world, because his kids, sorry, those little fucking sniveling pieces of shit, don't have the level of insanity and apparently charm that daddy has, which is something else that I just will never understand. That's like, what the frick? I don't even know.
Did you guys pre-order Yang's new book? I did not even know that he had a new book. Interesting.
No.
You think he's gonna make another presidential run, Dave?
I don't care.
No,
he's gonna lose. But
his ideas aren't losing.
No, that's true, and I think and increasing the platform of UBI through that run was valid.
Right.
I don't really know what happened in New York, but I love that he was out there doing retail politics. But here's what we know: he's never gonna win in politics. Just own that. It's not gonna happen. What he is doing is not how to win. And then turning around and rumors starting about starting a new party, fuck off. Even allowing that rumor to subsist for 5 seconds,
right,
is just, you're just not going to do well in American politics. That's okay. It's not the only way to do it, right? Scott Santens is crushing it still in the UBI conversation game. Now, granted, I think Andrew Yang probably brought UBI in front of more people than Scott Santens did by 2 orders of magnitude, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I'm not gonna order his book, although it's fantastic. I'll probably get around to reading it at some point.
Right.
I've been listening to like actually this audiobook called Awakened or Awaken or some shit. It's like this Jesuit priest that collected kind of all of the musings and lessons from kind of all the masters, Eastern, Western, yada yada yada. Or no, awareness, not awakening. I'll send it to you. It's like,
yeah, please,
kind of shockingly zen.
Yeah, I'll be looking for a hard copy of it because audiobooks just don't work for me unless I'm on a long road trip, and I'm not doing long road trips right now.
All right.
But I'd still like to, we should meet up at Lake Okeechobee again at some historic battlefield and hang out at a picnic table.
That's a good idea.
I haven't done that in a while.
For
me,
I don't think so either.
Yang as a presidential candidate is like Bernie, right? The ideas are more important than the actual candidate. You know, like the conversation about Medicare for all is in the center of our focus because of Bernie. And the conversation about UBI is much more central now because of Yang. So now what I'm looking for is somebody in the AOC age range, right, to take those central ideas and run with them in a way that gets them elected. Speaking of which, Beto is running for governor of Texas.
You think he's got a chance?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, it wasn't that far last time.
No, he was not far behind. You know, a well-financed run by.
And I mean, I don't know. Like, if you have a vagina in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's talking to all the right people, right? So, you know, that huge southern tier of more liberal voters that people aren't paying attention to, he definitely reached all of them, and a lot of centrists too, because he is a Texas boy, you know, speaks both the languages. So I think that's pretty cool. Ginny, I mean, I started Wormwood last night. Great recommendation. Thank you. That's on Netflix. It's about I can't remember his name now. The federal scientist in the biological weapons program that apparently committed suicide in the late 50s by jumping out a hotel window in New York. And it turns out he did not throw himself out the window. The CIA threw him out the window, and his son spent 30 years working to prove that and got an admission.
Wasn't that the MK Ultra stuff?
Yeah, it was actually. And the little problem was that he volunteered for an MK Ultra LSD dose at this hunting lodge, and he started to talk about how what they had done was wrong and they should all repent for it. I mean, and that was not okay. And so they put him through a bunch of counseling rigmarole and then killed him. And it took 30 years, but his son got an apology from Gerald Ford when it all finally became public. So when you start watching it, you think you're watching like what's going to be a mini-series movie about this, but his son, like, it's actually a lot of documentary footage with his son and other people who were involved in the story talking about it. His kid grew up thinking his dad had just committed suicide. And then when he was 20, he started getting hints that it wasn't what it appeared to be. Anyway, Wormwood on Netflix. It's outstanding. And it's a real lesson about who we are as a people.
I remember the first time I started telling Michelle about MK Ultra, and she's like, "That's not fucking real." I'm like,
listen,
okay.
I just watched something else.
The Babe Tonkin incident or whatever, explaining that is an actual thing that happened.
Yeah,
and she was just like, "There's no way." I mean, Pat, Google it. Like, this is not a made up conspiracy land shit. Like, this happened.
Yeah. What's interesting is Stephen King based 2 of his early novels on results from that. Jacob's Ladder and Firestarter were both about somebody who had flashback and psychic experiences because of MK Ultra, and he wrote those books in the mid to late 70s. So that's pretty interesting, right? But the other thing I was going to mention was I just watched the Manhunt Unabomber miniseries on Netflix, which is sort of the story of how they caught him. I didn't know this about Ted Kaczynski, but when he went to Harvard, he was 16. Like, he was a math prodigy. They sent him to Harvard, and he ended up under the tutelage of this professor whose last name was Murray. I can't remember the guy's first name. And going and meeting with him every week, you know, like sort of at first as an academic advisor. And then they had these big, deep philosophical discussions about Ted's beliefs in the world. And then he asks Ted, this professor, to sit in for this special meeting they're going to have with some representatives of the U.S. government, and they strap him into a fucking chair and they go at him with all his they broke him down. Well, that was the non-psychedelic drug part of MK Ultra. What they were looking for was ways to brainwash and break people down that they caught in spy rings.
Right, so, like thinking for themselves.
This is a 16-year-old child that they did this to.
Yeah.
And it was 2.5 years that he was in that program, repeatedly being abused in this way. He grew up to become the Unabomber. This is who we are that's as a people.
Right. Like that, you force people into those constraints. Far more importantly, Corey's watching Foundation, and I've actually I'm almost done my third pass through for the first 2 episodes.
Nice.
I never watch things that much, and I like turning it on because I like where it's going.
Right. Yeah, I've watched the first 15 minutes of the first episode and was sleepy and decided to stop.
Yeah, that was smart.
And wait until I was wide awake and ready to digest it.
Biggest thing for me is I wanted to share it with Michelle, but I definitely wasn't going to wait. So I watched it all, and then watched it again with her. And that's the thing. Like I think they're, I've read the books a few times as well, Corey, and they're going directly after the themes, and I think that just really diving in and allowing for everything being intentional and being symbolism is really fun because it is. Right. And that I get the impression, the feeling that they've really done their homework on it, and that's super exciting because like it's it's right up there with Dune. That's how I explained it to Michelle. Like she finally read the book, which I would marry her again just for that. She's never been into sci-fi. Just reads Dune for fun.
Yeah,
cool. In advance of the movie, but
yeah, I like I said, I haven't dipped in yet, but Ted Lasso, best TV recommendation anybody's made for me in 2 years. Really good. It's like he's so relentlessly competent and incompetent at the same time. Like he's incompetent at soccer, but he's competent at people. And like it would be mean if he wasn't so competent with people. In other words, the show would have that mean edge of making fun of Americans for being idiots, but that's not what's happening.
That's how I think they kind of lull you in with that in the first 2 episodes, and then they're like, no, this thing is going to be distilled joy. Just buckle up. Like that. Yeah, that's what that TV show is. It literally is like injecting joy into your bloodstream. I don't like soccer, and I still say soccer is life all the time.
And Roy fucking Kent.
Dude, yeah. I'm gonna be him when I
hear him talk about how he got that role.
No,
he was writing that role he was in the writer's room. He wasn't cast in the show. And like awesome. On the last day of writing the first 5 episodes, he wrote an email to the producers and said, I don't know if you can see this, and it may be stupid, and maybe tomorrow I want to completely forget I ever wrote this, but I feel like Roy Kent is in me trying to get out, and you should consider me for the role. So he asked for the role, and that's how he
so good.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And that just everything. Yeah, we're caught up, and they can't make enough. They will never make enough of that show.
Yeah.
It's not a thing that's possible.
I like it a lot. I also like how the real world is starting to interact with Ted Lasso. Like somebody, I can't remember who it was. Somebody posted something about what would Dolly Parton do, and she said, "Well, I don't know. What would Ted Lasso do?" So, and then the Ted Lasso account, tweeted back to her. So she's
really?
They're having all sorts of real world interactions with people that we love.
How am I not following Ted Lasso on Twitter? That's a mistake.
That's good. Yeah, I'm following Richmond Football Club, which is pretty hilarious. That's, Virginia Ripper, Dune equals Star Wars for Tool fans. I think that's
I'm here for it.
I'll allow it. Yeah,
that's well played. That's good shit right there.
So the home visit doctor that comes to visit me every month is named Dr. I'm not making this up, Lavonda Love. And so when she arrives now, I play Dr. Love by Kiss. Like I put it on my phone. They call me Dr. Love. And she thinks that's the greatest thing ever now that she has a theme song.
Oh, that's fun.
Dr. Love.
I went to Twitter and this is the first thing that popped up. Please hold. Do.
I wouldn't be mad if they weren't killing other people's kids, though.
That's exactly it. It would be a lot funnier if it wasn't literally making other people more.
So my mom's going to Egypt next week.
Baller.
She's going on a 9-day Nile cruise, And one of the reason she's going is one of the speakers on the cruise is Sister Joan Chittister, the Catholic nun you often see quoted on Facebook with pro-choice posts, which is an odd position for a Catholic nun. She's been writing about patriarchy in the church for a couple of decades, which is why she's been ostracized by the church and given shit assignments for her entire life as a nun. And she's one of the featured authors on this cruise, and that's why my mom is going. So she's going to go get to see
awesome.
Dr. Joan give a speech or give a talk and answer questions and sign books and all that good stuff. And my mom is 70. She'll be 79 in November. And she's going on her own on a Nile cruise in Egypt. I'm so fucking excited for her. She's like, I don't know if I should go. I'm like, Mom, how many more trips you got in you where you get to go all by yourself, not have to have me wheel you on board the ship, go. And she tried to go like 10 years ago, and that was the year when people were throwing hand grenades in the bus windows of tourist buses. So she called off that trip.
Yeah.
And things are stable enough now that she's just going to go. Am I worried about COVID and other aspects of this trip? Yes, I am. But my mom took me to Africa when I was 5 to live for 2.5 years. And so we can be afraid or we can do stuff. And she's vaccinated and she's very safe. So she's going to go.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm just perusing. I just posted will post the Ted Lasso Twitter account.
Yep.
It's gold. It's gold.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gold.
Not a surprise.
Oh, and AFC Richmond. I'm going to follow that too, because fuck it.
I also don't know how I never had an awareness of Juno Temple, but she's adorable.
Who's that?
She's the one that plays Roy's girlfriend.
Yep.
Yep. The young Chav girl. She's hilarious.
Sure.
Yeah. It was here that I first learned how dangerous COVID would be. I remember Corey saying this would be ugly. When Trump was saying it was only 14 people and it would go away. I didn't take it seriously at first either. Corey's wife, a medical professional, wasn't sure that it was going to be that bad in that moment. But Corey, you nailed that one, asshole.
Yay! Yeah, I'm predicting cooler things now as a rule. Like I don't want to have opinions about shitty things because they happen.
So what's something cool you think is going to happen in the next 5 years?
First thing that comes to mind?
Yes.
Shippo will shock everyone.
Oh, man, that makes me feel personally good.
Like the tools that are coming to bear that we can just easily access now.
Right.
It's like right next door to fucking insane.
Yeah.
Now it's how many communities. Remember, it was like number of active wallets times number of meaningful transactions. That's all going to happen no matter what now.
Right.
Now we scale up number of communities that are connecting in a meaningful way with Triple. That's going to be the metric, and that metric is going to go up by 10 to 100 in the next 5 years, maybe more.
I'm going to make a bold prediction that if that happens, if what you're saying happens, I'm going to end homelessness in Pasco County.
I mean,
because
maybe not in 5 years, but maybe in 10.
That's the leverage to build enough housing to house everybody, or to buy enough housing to house everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Shipples are going to be $10 or anything, but
we'll see.
Yikes, that'd be terrifying.
I'm not scared at all. Let's go.
Yeah, for the record, that.
Oh, I can be scared on my private jet at that point.
Don't pay any attention to what I decide because that's absurd.
Virginia thinks we're heading for another housing crisis. It's pretty inevitable.
I mean,
prices are ridiculous right now.
Yeah, and that part of it is, and actually, I'd love Casey's opinion on this because I think she probably has a better read on this than I do. But the amount that they're spending without taxing people is creating inflation. Yes. Right. And I mean, so let's not get it twisted. It's not that we're increasing spending. It's that we're increasing spending and not burning it on the other side by taxing rich people. Which, if I'm not mistaken, it's exactly what they're proposing to do now. Which is why all the Republicans are like, no, we can't pay for things. Wait, what? Yeah.
Right.
Whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's just there's more money floating around, and they got to put it somewhere. So they put it in real estate, which makes the bidding power increase, and you can just keep going and going and going and going until that stops. And like now, with the kind of levers that the Fed is pulling, like I don't know when it stops. And the stock market's the same way, right? The stock market keeps going up and up and up and up and up. Way overdue for a pullback. But I was saying that 2.5-3 years ago. It was overdue then. And so like, I I don't feel like my opinion counts on any of that stuff anymore because I have no idea. It could happen tomorrow. Could happen in 10 years. It just, I don't think the rules make any sense anymore.
Wonder if there are going to be enough unvaxxed dying by the time this is over to make a significant impact on housing. That's an interesting question because
there's a lot of empty houses now. It's not helping.
Well, the city of Tampa just enforced evictions on like 500 families. The city of Tampa, just the city of Tampa. That's, let's just say conservatively, that's 10,000 people.
Yeah,
that are.
I mean, it's a rounding error on the homeless rate in Tampa.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. When a house my size is renting for $1,250 to $1,500 a month, it's bound to crash again. Yeah, that's same thing. We're in a 2-bedroom house that we're renting for $1,100, and that's shockingly high to me. I could buy the house across the street for $5,000 down and about $600 a month. Now, I would probably make up the difference in insurance and other aspects of owning the home, but yeah, it's a problem. So. It's a problem. Okay, so my prediction is 3 years or less from today, we're watching 4K high-def footage of people walking on the moon. And I actually think that progress toward Mars is going to be like right behind that. I actually think Mars in 5 years.
I think it'll be right around the same time.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Because so much of the infrastructure that has to get launched, they're now going to be able to launch like 3 rockets a week. From Boca Chica. So they're going to put a lot of the infrastructural things like the Lagrange point station, the lunar station, all that stuff is going to be able to be launched concurrently, like, all the rockets at once.
Right.
Yeah. And we're going to, by the way, I figured out looking at the flight path, we're going to be able to see the Boca Chica launches from here in Newport Richey. Like we'll be able to go to the beach and the rockets will be low on the horizon going to the southeast from us. So particularly for night launches, we're going to be able to see them from here as they come across the Gulf.
They're so giant, too. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's not going to be Jeff Bezos freaking land on the moon. I'll tell you that right now.
Right.
That poor little man. Yeah. The BFRs, man, like if they can launch even at a fraction of the number of times they think they're going to recycle these things and launch them, because they want to do it like multiple times a day.
Yeah,
it's game over.
I think if they get to launches 3 times a week, it'll be shocking to all of us that remember
with one machine.
Yeah,
and they're going to have 100 machines.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy,
right? So like that's where getting stuff into orbit at scale, it's going to be kind of easy, which is nuts. Like
I'll tell you what I want to talk about for a minute. Do you have a time limit? You got to get out of here at.
I have a meeting in 9 minutes.
Okay. I want to talk about the billionaires going to space poo-pooing that's going on for a minute. I have really mixed feelings about this because I am old enough to remember when every time a new president got elected, people had to fight for funding to keep NASA alive. Like there were years when they canceled things that we thought were certainties and things that somebody promised we were going to go do this in 4 years, and then new president comes along, new Congress, new House, new Senate comes along, and we have to start all over again. And I will never let anybody forget that Burt Rutan, who designed Spaceship One and a whole bunch of other experimental and prototypical aircraft that you maybe haven't heard of, but you've probably seen them, he did a TED lecture when TED lectures were a brand new thing. And he said some things that were uncomfortably libertarian. And I get that about Burt Rutan. Okay. But the thing he said that was most important and that is most true right now is the FAA never built an airplane. Right. The FAA is responsible for regulations, for safety, for training, for rules, for laws that govern the safety of aviation in America. Okay. And NASA should be filling that role in space technology. In other words, NASA did build some spacecraft and they were incredibly expensive. They never paid off commercially like we were told they were going to. The space shuttle is essentially a rowboat in the harbor, right? And what's happening right now is billionaires with the capital and the means and the know-how are either building or paying to have built commercially viable spacecraft that'll make it possible for you to go to Tokyo in an hour and 20 minutes.
Or if like any of us to go to space before we die.
Yes, it's going to be very expensive to do so. But so was flying commercially in 1930.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, look at like the space launch thing right now. Like the everything NASA's doing is like many billions more budget than SpaceX, and it doesn't fucking work.
And it doesn't work.
And it never will. And they're designing a horse and carriage at this point. Like what they're designing is absurd. It's like building a 737 with the explicit point of only ever flying it once and flying into the ocean. Like it just, it's yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, and Corey Elko makes a good point. Elon Musk says they can deliver military payloads within a few hours anywhere in the world. So you can be mad about billionaires going to space, and you can be mad about Elon Musk being maybe a problematic human being, definitely a problematic life that he's lived. Right? I get all that, but what he's not on the same kind of ego trip to me that Jeff Bezos is on. He hasn't put himself in any of these rockets. He's put other people into space, including a civilian mission last week that, sent 4 people who had never been to space, who really had no chance of ever going to space in the ordinary astronaut pipeline system. And they raised a shit ton of money for cancer research at St. Jude's. That's the future. And whether you like the personality behind it or not, the inevitability of commercial spaceflight, guess what? We all have cars. That's maybe an overstatement by 10% of the people that listen to us, but for the most part, Americans have cars because of Henry Ford, a problematic, anti-Semitic, racist asshole. But we have this progress because of people like that. So I want to make sure that we're paying attention to the fact that you can call it a billionaire space race if you want, but what it really is, it's a race to put Corey and I in space.
Yeah.
And you in space if you want to go. Is it going to be expensive? Yes, it is.
But maybe not that expensive, though.
Not for long.
Right? And like maybe they take Schiphol in 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already thinking about that. What if...
Like, dude, Doge, and this is happening specifically because Elon Musk started ranting about Doge instead of Bitcoin because he realized he could, which is hilarious and important to understand why he started doing it, right? Like, AMC's talking about taking Doge now. The CEO of AMC is talking about taking Dogecoin. And I just saw something in some article or whatever about some food chain thinking about doing it too. And this is just like little nibbles, little starts or whatever.
We also have Kellogg's cornflakes because he wanted to stop masturbation.
I mean,
who cares what his motivation was? We have cornflakes now. Yeah.
This is what's important. Now we're going to be multiplanetary. Yeah. I mean that, it really could get to the point. And Michelle seeing the inspiration thing, like this changed. I mean, my marriage has been very good for the past decade. No complaints at all. Like I lucked out, but it got twice as good. And I mean that when we're watching the inspiration thing and we're finishing it, she's getting all teary. I'm fucking bawling. Like that's like,
right.
Just never mind that. I was verklempt within minutes, but she turned to me after watching the launch because we watched it live. She said, I want to go to space.
No shit.
And like, that's on our freaking bucket list now. And it's not impossible. Right? Like we could get to the point in our like long-term, financial planning thing. And I don't know if it's going to be 10 grand or 100 grand, but like it's on the list.
Yeah.
And we're not going to go in some like, dinky little dragon castle. We'll go to BFR with 50 other people and have like apartment building rooms, right? Like, not quite, but you get the idea, right?
Yeah.
Lots of room for activities.
Yeah. Virginia, I want to take issue with the space visitors, not astronauts, # not real space. No, look, this mission that just went up, they went twice as high as the shuttle ever did. They were out beyond the orbital path of the ISS, and they all had months and months of training to make this mission. In what sense are they not astronauts?
Yeah, that's a weird
astronaut, space traveler. They traveled in space, therefore they are astronauts.
Right? Like when I go, am I going to call myself an astronaut? You bet your fucking balls I am.
I'll get you a t-shirt, man.
Now, will that be true? Maybe not, right? I'm going to be sitting in a chair. I won't be trained the same way, blah, 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 blah. But I'm still going to call myself an astronaut because
Maria, nice to see you. It was we, the American people, with our taxpayer dollars that paid for the investments of education and technology that made space travel a reality. Perhaps that's why people are turned off. It's not we, the American people. It's just a rich guy doing it. Okay, but the complaint for that entire time period is, why are we wasting tax money on space? Why are we wasting? That was every anti-space argument for 50 fucking years. And now these 3 guys, love them or hate them, have said, okay, well, we'll just fuck it. We'll do it ourselves. And I kind of feel
NASA
like
stalled out, right? Like that. It was important for when it happened, and like there was a lot of government grant money that got planes off the ground too, right? Like that.
Sure. Yep.
Getting that to the point where you can go from 0 to 1, but NASA's fucking terrible. Like they could never have designed, iterated, and created a system where you could land rockets on their ass. They couldn't do it right now. Back in the day, like maybe, right? But they didn't have whatever
because of the same funding struggle that I mentioned at the beginning of my rant.
Right, exactly. Over and over
Having
and over.
To beg for enough money to barely fund what they already have going on every year.
And then they're going to get like every single they can't show any failure, and like failure is how you do this, right? Yes. Failure is like rocket after rocket after rocket after rocket after rocket blowing up, and then keep coming back to the table like we're going to keep going, right? And so that
this is funny too, Ginny. But we have Space Force now with Star Trek uniforms. I roll. I'm like, yeah, and Space Force is I love space and I love prostitutes, and I find myself hating the president that was responsible for sleeping with prostitutes and creating the Space Force. It's just it's not right. But Space Force is a ridiculous idea. The Air Force already does all of those things.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm still here for it. And I know that's dumb. I realize that it's dumb, but I'm still here for it anyway. Now, granted, it's not Star Trek uniforms. Somebody showed me a picture of the new uniforms in Battlestar Galactica. They're fucking identical.
They're more like Battlestar Galactica.
Very identical. And I'm all right with that. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
And is it all like performance theater? Maybe, but
well, I want us to remember that the reason we didn't want space militarized is because we didn't want anybody to be able to drop nuclear bombs on us from orbital platforms, right? Yeah, and that was a good idea for everybody. So if we're going to argue now to militarize space, we need to be paying close attention to what China is doing, because they're going to outpace us by a lot when it comes to a government militarizing space.
Because they're not going to ask.
Nope, they're not going to ask, and they're not going to care what the world thinks. So anyway, that's my space rant.
Ginny, it means our military budget will never decrease despite leaving a war. It never did before. Why would they start now?
Yep.
I mean, actually, that's actually not true, right? After World War II, it diminished.
Yeah, and our economy bloomed and blossomed, and Yeah. Good times.
Back when there was like the war dividends or whatever. History. Oh, good times.
All right. You got to go to a meeting, buddy, and I don't.
I do not hate that we did this today. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, I want everybody to know, because people are asking, is this, can you do this all the time? Look, Corey is way, way busier than I am. So I will leave it up to Corey to horn in and tell me. Clearly, we didn't hurt for having people show up. So I would love to do this more, and I'm going to leave it up to Corey because his schedule is really pressurized.
Even if we just make sure we do it like once a week or something. Just,
you let me know when you have time. We'll do it.
Okay. Yeah, I need to book it in advance or it won't happen. That's basically where it's at.
All right, man.
I'm glad I had time today, though.
Fred says, before you go, I want to make sure I get to say thank you for doing this again. It feels good to come on. Well, thank you, Fred. I'm really glad your living situation is so cool right now. He's living on a farm in a travel trailer with pigs, and they're not living in the house with him, but he gets to visit with pigs and chickens and dogs every day, which seems like exactly where Fred should be. So
I agree. His
front porch has gotten considerably cooler.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, we love you guys very much. Keep fighting the big. Remember, midterm elections are next year, and now is the time to start volunteering for campaigns. People are announcing. People are beginning to fundraise to get rid of some of the more decrepit, shitty politicians we have in my part of Florida, for sure. And we'd love to see you out and involved. And if you need to be hooked up with people who are collecting volunteers for those campaigns, let me know, because I know everybody. Yeah. And also, if you want to find out about all this other amazing stuff that Corey is doing in the crypto space, he's not hard to find on Twitter, on Facebook, on Telegram, and in the actual Uplift world, which is the Minecraft server we created for shits and giggles that has turned into a real amazing and all-consuming project. So,
yep.
Thanks, guys.
I really need a nap. This is a nice way to kind of just hang out today. I'm not gonna lie. All right, I gotta roll.
All right, bye everybody. Have a great day.
Sorry, Maria was saying plug the women's march this weekend. I don't know anything about it.
There's a women's march this weekend.
Nailed it.